Alrighty, this is my first match in Gi for the Sub Only tournament in January. You'll notice I start on the bottom. The camera person had a hard time starting it out. Big surprise for those of you that know me, I pulled guard. One of these days I am going to do an excellently beautiful executed takedown, but today is not that day. So I pulled guard, kind of half guard position. He's really looking a lot for loop chokes and darces, Bravo chokes as well with the gi. So I'm just keeping my head back, making sure I don't fall into that trap, because I want to try to get underneath him, but not to the detriment of my posture on bottom there. So this match is a little bit of a slow match. This guy's really strong, and I felt like I needed to wear him out a little bit before I could do much with him. Hard to tell on the video, but he's extremely strong, so I try not to play strength on strength. I'm just going to keep that Z shield in the way so that he has a hard time putting pressure on, and every once in a while kind of try to off base him a little bit. You'll notice I am untucking his lapel from his belt. I'm just giving myself another weapon to use against him a little later on here. You'll see me use that lapel that I freed up, his left lapel, to the right side of the screen here. You'll see me use that a little bit later for a while. So again, he's looking for that cross collar grip. I'm kind of keeping him off with that top frame though. He's doing a good job of controlling my low wrist, so I'm going to have a hard time going for Kimuras and stuff here, but I managed to reel him into closed guard. Now comes that lapel into play, so I throw that lapel over his opposite shoulder, so I'm grabbing his lapel with my left hand. So right here, my guard's open because he's putting a ton of pressure on me, so I'm just alleviating that a little bit by thrusting my heels up to the ceiling. It's a really easy, solid technique for if somebody strong or heavy is trying to crush you. You'll notice he's leaving his elbows kind of open, so he's trying to feed my right hand underneath my butt and grab it with his right hand so that he can pass. So he came pretty close there, but I managed to get back and get a grip on my pants. This is one of the stronger positions passing if you can feed their arm beneath their back, so I definitely didn't want to give him that. You saw a second ago I tried to sweep him a little bit, off base him, and now we're kind of back to the half guard sort of position. He looks to pass, but I get my top hook in, and I'm not trying to follow him with that bottom knee. I'm trying to cut my hips underneath him. So that's a big place that I see a lot of the guys from my gym falling into that trap of chasing them, but they're more mobile than you because they're on top and they don't have weight on them. So just cut your hips underneath and it does the work for you. I'm trying to off base him to his left, or his right, my left, sorry. But he's wise to it, and he has good base. Like I say, he's a real strong guy too. You'll notice he's breathing pretty heavily right here. He's starting to get tired a little bit because he's been pushing so hard for the last 4 minutes. But he starts coming into a better passing position. He's got me flat on my back here, which isn't good for me. He starts to try to pull that leg out, but I managed to snag it. So I've still got that lapel grip with my left hand here. I'm using that as kind of a dual frame and posture control on him. So ideally, what my goal here is I want to try to get underneath him, underneath both his hips, and dive between his legs for either like an old school style sweep or coming out the back door like electric chair style. But he's doing a real good job with that cross face. You see him digging that deeper there, so he's keeping me flat. Honestly, I probably, watching the match again, should have let go with that left hand of mine on his lapel. Just left it there and started to work more half guard stuff. But you see I'm starting to block that cross face and walk it up off my head with my frame because that was getting old for me, so I didn't want to have to deal with that. But windshield wiping those legs, kind of off basing him, making a hole towards the middle. I'm looking in gi. I really am looking a lot of times to get to close guard. I have a pretty strong close guard game, and yeah, so I'm trying to just jack him up with that lockdown there, get him off base. You see, he doesn't have much base on my left side here, his right. So I'm trying to take advantage of that. Maybe open him up a little bit more. Getting on my side here. So this is the best. That right there is the best half guard position I've been in for the last few minutes because I'm on my side and not flat on my back. But he's doing a good job of putting a lot of weight on. So I push and kind of sweep him to that side. He goes for an arm bar, but I use my knee to pop right out. I got real lazy here, which my coach was not a fan of. I should have done a stand-up in base or technical stand-up, however you want to call it. But I was real lazy, and I felt like I was having a fine time with him in guard, so I wasn't too concerned about coming up, although I should have. Again, this is a submission-only tournament, so points don't matter, so I didn't really feel incentivized to use a lot of energy to come up top, where I could just keep playing bottom, which is kind of home base for me. So I get my Z-shield back in the way. He's going to reset us in the same position that we were in, and he says go. So again, my opponent is really looking to get that Bravo choke going underneath my top arm and coming out right beside my neck on the other side, but I'm wise to it, so I'm going to go straight back to close guard and not let him bother with that. So again, he's putting a ton of pressure on. So what I need to do when he starts putting pressure on is I need to just let guard come open and control his wrist, cut my hips underneath him, and bring him over top. That's something that I've learned since this tournament. Again, this is retroactive. I did this tournament probably 10 months ago or something, so I've improved a lot since then, and that's what I do now. So I'm looking for the cross collar choke here. You see, he's not really defending it, but I've got it over his face instead of underneath his neck. So I need to let go and adjust that to come back to a stronger attacking position. You'll notice though that I used that to get my right foot on his hip, which is going to keep him from stacking into me and giving me all that pressure, those issues that he's been giving me all match. And it also allows me to start to cut an angle on him, which is my goal here. Kind of still just working that. He's not really defending, but I feel like I'm cinching it a little bit deeper every time. So I decide that I'm going to try to stick with it a little bit here. He finally starts acknowledging it and defending it. I'm just talking to my coach here. He's telling me what I need to do. I'm going to be looking for arm bars and triangles as a secondary to the cross collar choke setup. So you see I'm trying to pivot with my hip hard here to look for a triangle on that arm. But again, he's got real heavy hips, which was good. Right here, I need to take him over top, just like that. But I let go of his dang hand. So if I wouldn't let go of his hand, I probably would have had that sweep up to mount. You can tell the refs are really entertained right now. But right here, still working the same thing, looking for a cross collar choke. He's not particularly trying to get his posture back. He kind of seemed lost in close guard, which is another reason why I wanted to go back there. You'll see I am incorrectly hand positioning for a baseball bat choke. I was kind of tired to the point now that I was making stupid errors, and that was one of them. So here he's got both elbows in. He's in a good position here. This is the first like solid position within my guard he's been in. So I'm looking to get one of those elbows out and then start to shoot for a triangle, or get both the elbows out and just continue to work for chokes and stuff. So really working hard to try to get that elbow out. Like I said, this guy is very strong. I definitely later on in the match fell into the trap of fighting him strength on strength. See, I start to try to climb for a triangle there, but he pushed my hips down to the mat, so I had a hard time moving that. Still looking for cross collar chokes. This one's a little bit deeper, a little bit tighter, but again, I was above his head a little bit, and I wasn't deep enough with my first grip. So remember, guys, all the way to the tag for that collar grip, cross collar grip for a cross choke. Again, he's just putting pressure in. He's trying to feed my hand underneath again, but this time I'm wise to it. You'll notice I immediately just grab my pants there with that right hand. He's trying to stack hard. I need to come up over top again now that I've got his hands controlled better. But I don't. I'm tired and getting weak and sluggish. There I was looking to try to come underneath him for an ankle lock. I'm pretty good at getting underneath people most of the time. I don't train a whole lot of gi, so the grips were definitely kind of detrimental to me because I couldn't move the way that I normally would move. But it's a good learning experience. I really like gi because it slows stuff down, and the way that I view it is gi is just more tools for attacking the no-gi. So here I trap both his shoulders, and I'm looking for a double armbar, but he stacks into it and kind of can opens me, which keeps me from extending away, and then he manages to get his arms back after the little sweep attempt there. Still kind of just playing close guard. I know this isn't a super exciting match. Here I'm looking for an arm drag or a hip bump sweep, but he posted his hand on my hip, so that wasn't going to let me arm drag, and my hand was in the wrong position for a hip bump sweep, so I kind of just conceded to go back to my back here. So now I start to sink the cross collar choke again, and he's actually pretty worried about it this time. Now he's starting to actually try to break guard, technically, by putting the knee up the center of my butt. Every time he does that, though, I'm just cutting my hips back square with him, which is going to stuff that really easily. I start to walk the legs up, looking for a triangle here. He starts to put all the pressure on, but that gives me a deeper grip with that cross collar choke. So I let go here for a second. I'm trying to readjust, moving a little bit. You can see I'm sucking wind here. I'm pretty tired for sure, and I know he is because he started not being able to use as much muscle on me. Foot in the hip again, trying to create a good angle. If I was smart, I could have taken my right foot and put it hooking, so I've got the cross collar grip here. I managed to finally sweep him, base off my head to cut my hips. Head goes to the mat, drive the hips forward, elbows to my knee, and he taps. So a very hard fought match. He was a really strong opponent, and I mean, not just strength. I mean, he was binding my hips up well also, which was really important. If you're going to stack somebody, you have to be stacking into their hips, not into their shoulders or their head. So he was actually doing a good job of that. And again, just a hard fought match, about 15 minutes long. So definitely tired afterwards.
Oh. Oh my, yeah, what?